Hi and welcome back to another Freelander fixing video. I love both my Freelanders, can't bear to sell either of them at the moment. I've got a V6 one, that lovely gold colour one, and a turbo 1.8 petrol one. Today we're going to be looking at changing the differential on this V6 Freelander. It's exactly the same part between all of the Freelander variants, TD4, 1.8 or the V6. Now there's a couple of videos on YouTube already on changing the differential on a Freelander. The two I've seen don't really go through the correct method, and they talk about, particularly the Budget and Leggett video, he goes through removing or lowering the rear subframe, which is not necessary, doesn't reference any of the Land Rover manual recommendations, and that step is not recommended by Land Rover, so it's unnecessary. Partway through the job, as we can see here, so just about to remove the differential. See, it's dropped down and one of the half shafts has been removed, and you can see I've also taken off the exhaust. I was wondering whether to do this video or not, because I wasn't sure whether I could actually add anything to it or come up with some useful tips. I think in conclusion I can, and it saves a lot of time starting the video at this position, and I'll just describe what I've done so far. Some of it's a bit awkward, some of it's pretty basic. If I'm doing this video from this stage, then you'll know you can remove the differential without lowering the subframe. So this piece of metal here, on a sort of H structure, H connecting to another bit of the front, is the subframe. So the awkward bits that I've mostly managed to do, apart from that one bolt where my impact driver is attached at the moment, is the only bolt so far I haven't been able to get off. That one is removed, which allows me to push the hub a little bit further back, not really far enough to remove the half shaft. This one, you get better access if you remove the exhaust. So I've gone all the way back to removing that section of the exhaust. In fact, I made a new join, cut it off, and the rest of it, let's see if we can see that. Yeah, you can see that over there. Because it wasn't aligned very well, it was too close to the half shaft. It wasn't rubbing, but it's too close. I think it was an aftermarket exhaust had been put on at some time after all the car is 21 years old. So removing the exhaust gives you much better access to the differential mounts, and particularly these bolts here. It allows you to get either a power bar or torque wrench or an impact driver on the bolts. So let's go through the tips up to this stage. So as I already mentioned, the first tip is removing the exhaust. Next tip is to remove the filler plug, see where that hole is on the differential, and then insert, this would be my recommendation, a tube with a suction device, for same sort as removing engine oil, to suck out all the differential fluid. That saves you getting loads of oil on the garage floor when you pull out the half shaft. This sort of device with a suction plunger on top, a few tubes that connect, and as you see, comes with extension pipes. You can get that all the way into the differential and then pump up a few times. The oil will probably be cold, so it'll take quite a while to do it, and it sucks out about a litre of oil. Worth doing. Those engine oil changing pumps are not that expensive. I forget exact amount, but I'll put some links in the video description for buying links from, I don't know, Amazon or eBay or something. Probably about 20 quid, I'm not sure. But some car engines nowadays, you have to use a suction pump in order to suck out and change the engine oil, because they don't have drain plugs on a lot of modern engines. First I want to say, why am I changing the differential? Well, I did notice when I was checking and changing the oil on the diff that it had a fairly high metal content in the oil, which I think was due to an over tightening of the pinion nut. So let's reference this Recon diff I've got. So the nut, the end of the what's this, the pinion, I suppose. The nut here was over tightened, bearing, and the pinion load was too much. The turning torque on this was too high. So I think the bearing had started to disintegrate, and there's a lot of metal content in it, which will wear everything else in the differential. And I changed the oil a few times. I made it a bit better, but there's still metal particles in the oil. So I saw this one on Facebook advertised for £60, so I thought it was for that price worthwhile just changing the whole thing. Came with the mounts, also came with the drive shafts, which were the earlier type, which are not compatible with this car, which is a 2003. So the drive shafts I've got spare, might eventually sell them on eBay. Seems to be very good condition, as is this differential. Seems to have been nicely reconditioned. The load on it seems quite reasonable, quite easy to turn without too much free float sort of backlash on it. I'll have to check the turning torque on that with my fine torque wrench, because it should be quite a low value, which I'll look up and put on the screen. So if I hadn't got this for a low price, I probably wouldn't have bothered, because it wasn't giving too much problem. Apart from perhaps the other symptom was a very slight whine when you decelerate mostly, which is a sign of differential wear, which you might be able to hear in this bit of recording that I did. There's the tiniest little whine from the diff, which you can hear on decelerating. Doing about 63 or something. Decelerate now. Disappears, decelerate. A tiny little whine that comes from the rear, and that's quite typical of a differential sound. Tiny little bit of whining. Not really an issue, but I did see metal in the oil, so like metal powder, which is a sign of one of the surfaces degrading, like a bearing or something. I think the prop shaft bearing was over tightened and has probably taken off the hardened layer of the bearing or something. So 50, decelerating near a tiny little bit there. Not really a big issue at all for driving or noise or refinement, but because of the metal in the oil, I thought it'd be a good idea to change it for longevity reasons. It's been like this for probably 1,000 miles at least since I've owned the car. The next tip would be on removing these half shafts. You need to get those two bolts off from those two suspension arms. You can see those in the picture in the middle there. Quite tricky, and this impact driver is quite useful, the DeWalt one. I got it cheaper by importing it from Amazon from the States and got the battery locally. They do provide a lot of torque, but you want to try and use it without extension bars, because the extension bars dilute to the effect of the impacting torque. The next tip, I suppose, is to also disconnect the mounting for the handbrake. So see in the distance there, right in the middle of the picture, piece of metal that goes round the handbrake cable needs to be released. Now it's held in place by a 10mm bolt, which easily rounds off and gets rusted in place. So that one, because the metal is like a U-shaped piece of metal that goes around the cable, I just cut through it with my disc cutter. Where is it? This one. Ah, come here, bastard. This one here, 4.5 inch or something, 115mm. Just cut through the first layer. That makes it easy. On the other side, the bolts just sheared off, so of course that released it. It's a pretty non-important piece of mounting for the handbrake cable. Just stops it drooping down and getting in the way. So you could either cable tie it around that piece of mounting metal, or put a new bolt in, drill out the old one or something, depending on your particular problem you've got. And then once you've done that, the next step is to lie on the floor, use your feet to push out the wheel. That'll then shift those suspension arms over enough to allow you to pull out the drive shaft, this from the differential, just about. What will happen first is the CV joint in here will start pulling apart. So to stop that, you have to get your screwdriver between this bit and a bit of the differential mount and lever it out from the differential, and then it'll pop out. That wasn't too difficult. Then you can just move it out of the way like I've done here. There's 3 bolts each for the differential mounts, 2 left hand, right hand, and 1 at the front of the differential, which is not too bad to remove. Again, easier with an impact driver, just shoot off. There's 4 nuts and bolts on the prop shaft to front of differential pinion flange that need removing, and for that you need a specialist socket, a E12 female socket, because the bolts are a star type of bolt, and I think the other end was the nuts, which was, I don't know, 17 or 15 or something, you'll find out, which you can just put an ordinary spanner on. So now everything is removed. 1 half shaft has been popped out of the diff, so I just need to manipulate it round to get out the other half shaft now. I was hoping to get out that last bolt from the suspension, which is proving to be difficult, but it's not shifting. Lots of penetrating oil would be good, but I've just run out of that. I'll see how much further I can get with that. Otherwise I'm going to have to try and wiggle the diff, move it over enough to pull out the half shaft some more. So at the moment it's about that far out, it needs to go another couple of inches. So finally I managed to get that last bolt off the lower suspension arm on the left hand side, which I would recommend trying to do, because then you can get out the other half shaft, and you can see at the top there I've just got it resting on the subframe. And again, emphasising I didn't need to undo any of the subframe mounts, and now I can see that the differential will drop out from the gap in the subframe. Let's just do that. Plug those holes in the differential where the half shafts have come out, and then try not to put it underneath your head, but with all the mounts undone, it's seamed. Let's get in a bit further. Get your arm underneath and wiggle it away from that front mount, and then by rotating it 90 degrees you can lower the differential to the ground like so, and the new one will go back in the same afterwards. You could strip these down and recondition them, I suppose yourself. Probably get hold of the parts, I'm not sure. I've rebuilt differentials before in the past, and manuals for really old cars. I've got the one for a Triumph Stag, goes into all the details about how you recondition differentials, how you set them up correctly. But to be honest, it's probably not worth doing. For 60 quid managed to get a good reconditioned one. I've only done 500 miles since it was reconditioned, so now all it needs to do is swap it over. Are there any other tips? Don't think so. Probably clean up the splines before you put them back in again. These half shafts are different sizes, I think, between the earlier and later facelifted Freelander. These are lighter, thinner drive shafts, but the diameter of this bit where it goes into the differential is the same. So here is one of the earlier drive shafts. Now if I put them the same distance away, you can see the CV joint is a lot wider on, I think this is the older style, but this part that goes in the diff is the same. If you get it the same distance away, you can see the same diameter, same dimensions on the end of it, and yeah, the shaft itself is thicker on the older ones, so it's probably a weight reduction procedure that they did after realizing it didn't need to be that thick. So that's just for interest. Oh, the other way to tell the difference, I think, between the two sorts of drive shaft is that the earlier ones had, I'll just put that down a minute, is the earlier ones had this very visible ABS ring with little slots in it, whereas I think the later ones had that magnetic difference implanted in the metal of the CV joint. So if you swap them over, watch for that difference. So that's a new differential in place. Reassembly is pretty much the same as reversal of taking it apart. So the big bolts, these ones here to the subframe, and the suspension arms to the subframe, 90 pound-foot torque. Most of the torques are shown here, and the 15mm bolts, these ones, just about to see maybe, which mount the differential mounting onto the actual differential, 48 pound-foot. So you need a torque wrench for those. It's worth mentioning at this point that the proper Land Rover procedure says you should centralise the differential with that LRT 51 tool, as shown in this diagram here. In reality, there's very little movement of the differential once it's secured to the differential mounts. So there's not a lot of re-centralising that the tool can actually do. And in reality, you can do it without the centralising tool, I think, in my opinion, and most people do. For filling, it's very useful to have one of these pots with that sort of end on it, a little hook end, and with a tube that goes to the bottom of the pot. Then you can just squeeze it and fill up your differential from underneath. So look out for those. Not all of the oil pots have that sort of fitting on them, and if you find one worth holding on to it to refill it. The oil that goes into the level plug up here is EP80W90 GL5 specification. It's also the exhaust refitted, a bit higher up, and a straight through exhaust, hopefully for a bit of a sportier sound, maybe a fraction bit more power, you never know. Side exhaust, a little bit of coolness, and also put a joint on to extend the exhaust to align it over the drive shaft a bit better, as you can't see it very well there. So now for a test drive, check it all out. And I'm pleased to report on the test drive, zero noise from the rear, no sort of whining, in 70 now, decelerating, can't hear any whine. It doesn't come out terribly well on the video, but I just have to trust me that we now have no noise from the diff. Okay, thanks for watching, bye.